But now the people, they study for a week or 2 weeks, a month or 2 months, and they come back and they make their YouTube accounts and name themselves as Sheikh such and such, name themselves as a student of knowledge of such and such, and in reality it's a calamity. These people don't have knowledge. They don't have knowledge. They've never studied and learned the principles properly. They don't know the reality of Salafiyah. So you see the types of calamities they get involved in. All of these kids, the YouTube kids, Abu Taymiyyah, Abdurrahman Hassan, Da'wah man, none of them have knowledge to give you. And you've seen that from their behavior and the types of things they've got involved in. Abdurrahman Hassan, mashallah, is going to defend the Sunnah. And he gets beaten up by some takfiris just a year or so ago. Then he wants to come back and redeem himself. He needs to bring himself back up now. So then now we'll debate a Sufi, an easy one. Debate a Sufi, get ourselves back onto the platform. I won that debate. Abu Taymiyyah, these kids, what do they know? Barely out of their teens, barely studied anything. Not a single one of these narrations applicable to them. Because they love to be asked. YouTube channels answering the questions of the people. Who are they to answer? What have they studied? So be aware of this type of disease that goes around amongst the people. A person studies a year, 2 years, barely 3 years, 4 years. 3 years, 4 years is nothing. Years and years sitting with the scholars, you learn the principles, the usul, and become grounded. As for these people, they are playing with the religion. So warn the people, warn your friends and families from going to these players. All they are doing is playing around for their numbers and their ratings, and they do not have knowledge of the religion. Now, I doubt, I'll tell you honestly as a final point, when this issue occurred recently and our brother Abu Ayyab, Hafidahullah, highlighted very clearly those issues in Aqidah of this so-called student of Abu Taymiyyah. I doubt that Abu Taymiyyah, when he replied, even understood that response properly. I doubt he even understands those issues of Aqidah properly. Personally, I doubt it. Because they have not studied. When have they studied? And they make lists of these books that I have taught, and I'm teaching this one, I'm teaching that one. And the reality is they know nothing. So be warned from this type of arrogance these new people have, coming along having studied nothing, promoting themselves as mashayikh. Be warned from that and go to the firmly grounded scholars and their students that are known.
Jazakallah khair. There's a nice quote here from Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah from Al-Fawaid, which is relevant to what our brothers have mentioned. Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah, he said, من علامات السعادة والفلاح أن العبد كلما زيد في علمه زيد في تواضعه ورحمته. That from the signs of happiness and success of a worship of Allah, of a slave of Allah, is that every time he increases in knowledge, he increases in humility and mercy. So it shouldn't be the other way around. The more knowledge you get, the more arrogant you get. That is a sign when knowledge is not beneficial, where the person is arrogant, easily setting up YouTube videos, ask the Sheikh, fatwa, Mr. Fatwa, or Mr. So-and-so who's given fatwa. وَكُلَّمَا زِيدَ فِي عَمَلِهِ زِيدَ فِي خَوْفِهِ وَحَذَرِهِ. And every time, Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah said, the person increases in action, then that should only bring about more fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and more cautiousness in falling into that which Allah is not pleased with or is displeased with. وَكُلَّمَا زِيدَ فِي عُمُرِهِ نَقَصَ فِي حِرْصِهِ. And every time he gets older or as the years go by, then that will only make him less concerned with this life, less seeking this dunya. وَكُلَّمَا زِيدَ فِي مَالِهِ كُلَّمَا زِيدَ فِي مَالِهِ زِيدَ فِي سَخَائِهِ وَبَدَرِهِ. And every time the person increases in his wealth, then the sign of happiness and the sign of salvation and success for that individual is that he increases in giving it to others, those who are in need. وكلما زيد في قدره وجاهه زيد في قربه من الناس وقضاء حواجئهم. And every time the person increases in having more ability and status, then he should increase, and that is a sign, he should increase in helping the people. وتواضع لهم, and also having humility towards them and in aiding them. That's in Al-Fawaid. And Abu Darda radiyallahu anhu, he said, علامة الجهل ثلاثة. The signs of ignorance is three. The signs of ignorance is three. Number one is al-ujub, being amazed with oneself. Being amazed with oneself, over praising yourself and thinking you have it. The Salaf were not like that. The Sahaba radhiyallahu anhum used to fear hypocrisy upon themselves. Ibn Abi Mulaika, from the Tabi'een, he said, I met 30 of the Sahaba radhiyallahu anhum, and each one feared hypocrisy from themselves. A narration in Bukhari. They feared nifaq for themselves. They didn't have ujub. And Shaykh Muhammad bin Hadi, he mentioned that this is a sign for deviation. That the person, instead of referring back to Ahl al-Ilm, they start opening the doors to innovation by relying upon themselves. And isn't this what these youths have done? Debating with Ahl al-Bid'ah, and then quoting from Ibn Abdul Barr, from Tamheed of Ibn Abdul Barr, or from his other works about debating and why are you mixing Ramadan with Sha'ban? Why are you mixing Ramadan with Sha'ban? When Sha'ban comes, do you fast like you fast an obligatory fast like Ramadan? When Sha'ban comes, do you go and look for Laylat al-Qadr? Why are you mixing Ramadan with Sha'ban? Enjoining good and forbidding the evil, and inviting others to the deen. And idfa' billati ahsan, wajadilhum billati ya ahsan. In these matters, this is nothing to do with you opening the floor for Ahl al-Bid'ah to spread their bid'ah, and you trying to defend it, and in many cases not able to. And then that bid'ah still remains for the people to listen to. Name me one of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, or the Tabi'een, or the Tabi'een, where they allowed debate in this particular manner, where they gather the awam, they gather the masses, and they say to them, come. As Shaykh Rabi Hafidullah explained, when we mentioned to him what these individuals are doing, he refuted what they are doing. And he said, Shaykh Rabi Hafidullah said, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma did not call the general masses to listen, did not say from his city, from his town. When Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu went to the Khawarij, when he went to them, did he bring with him a multitude of people to go out with him to listen to this debate? No. He went out to them and he answered their questions, and many of them turned back. This is what Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu did. So why are you mixing Ramadan with Sha'ban? And what you have done, as Shaykh Abdurrahman Muhyiddin has mentioned, you have allowed bid'ah to be opened and to be spread. Because now people are going to listen. They may listen to you and just look at your eloquence and how you speak, rather than the issues at hand. It may even be above their level. People may even live halfway through the debate, and they have only listened to the mubtadi'. And at your expense is their misguidance. And whoever misguides others, you will have the sin of all those that follow them upon their misguidance. من دل الناس على الشر كان له من الإثم من تبعه لا ينقص من آثامهم شيئا. You have called the people to that. Open the door for deviation. Ahl Sunnah don't do that. We don't have time to debate. Either you get up or I get up, the Salaf used to say. When they would say to the Salaf, As-Salih, some of them when they said to them, I'll just read to you a verse, they would reply, not even half a verse. Because I don't want to be twisted in your understanding. The Salaf never were like that. So al-ujub, these individuals have ujub, and it's apparent from their actions. And it's apparent from their opening the doors to bid'ah, by having platforms of debates, opening the doors to takfir and its doubts, and then praising them on stage. Praising them on stage. Oh, I can learn from you. And this is my pen ready to write a fawaid. Fawaid from who? From a takfiri. Fawaid from who? The one who calls for the destruction of Mecca, or the destruction of Muslims, and calls the Muslim rulers, all of them kuffar, without establishing the hujjah upon them. Fawaid from who, ya rajul? اعرف نفسك. Know yourself. And know your level. The ulama, don't open this door. Do you see Sheikh Salih Fawzan do that? Did you see Sheikh Rabi' Hafidhullah do that? Did you see Sheikh Al-Haydan do that? No, you didn't. So establish the haqq by following the methodology of the Salaf. And don't be amazed with yourself. Number 1 is al-ujub. Number 2, kathrat al-nutq fima la ya'nih. Speaking much about that which doesn't concern you. Entering the affairs. Entering the arena, you're not even ready for it. Who gave you that platform? Who gave you that allowance to do that? From Ahl al-Ilm. And even if anyone was mistaken in saying that, then we don't follow them in that mistake. This is not from the deen. Opening the doors to listen to shirk and bid'ah being spread, doubts. A'udhu billah. And thirdly, أن ينهى عن شيئا ويأتيه. Sign of ignorance, that you forbid something and you yourself do it yourself. نسأل الله السلامة. نسأل الله السلامة. نسأل الله السلامة.